Hello, welcome to Premier Scene. I'm Claire Bueno as Michael Winterbottom brings his interpretation of Tess of the D'Urbervilles to the big screen with his new film, Trishna. Obviously, it's a classic story brought to a modern audience and a modern story. What surprised me as well was the lack of nudity in the film, which you could have done and exploited. And I wondered how much you explored, how much flesh was shown on screen or not.
I'm not sure we really talked about it that much, to be honest. I mean, it didn't strike me that we needed to have a lot of nudity in the film. I mean, it obviously is a story about a relationship, and a relationship moves from being a kind of love story to a much more sexual relationship, and in a sense that is the kind of the heart of the sort of tragedy, that it becomes just sex and almost kind of like a sort of prostitution or sort of slavery by the end, and so. But it never struck me that we needed to be more explicit than we did about that. It's more about the feelings and the emotion of the scenes rather than the actual physical aspect of the scenes. And one aspect I did want to have is that there's a mutual desire. It's not that physical relationships are the antithesis of being in love. There's a physical desire, but everything gets destroyed by their situation, which is more economic, social kind of power situation rather than the actual relationship between the two of them. I mean, obviously, in the original novel, there's a division between one person has a purely sensual desire and the other person has a purely spiritual desire. And, Riz's character has to kind of carry both of those things. But I didn't really feel we were restricted by what we could or couldn't show.
Well, I agree with Michael. I mean, it's really about the emotions. And in terms of, there's a physical desire. In terms of going down to the brutality of what happens in the third phase of the film, I think nudity wouldn't be enough in order to explain that brutality. It's more of what they're feeling, more about what he's saying to her and how she's reacting to it that kind of makes, for me, is the more impactful bit than just nudity.
How did you become attached to the project? Have you worked with Michael before?
Yeah, I've produced with him and Andrew Eaton for like about 10 years. We've been working together, and this is another one we've worked together on. And it's an amazing experience. Michael likes to use the same crew as much as he can and keep it quite simple, and so yeah, it's really good.
And Tess of the D'Urbervilles, what does that mean to you as a story?
Yeah, well, obviously it's Michael's a huge fan of Thomas Hardy, and for this it kind of made sense to set it in modern day India, because obviously in a way it's a little bit like England was, during Thomas Hardy's times. So it's quite an interesting parallel, and they've sort of brought it in. So it's a really, really interesting way to do this sort of adaptation again.
Bring it to a modern audience.
Yeah, exactly. Especially in all Asian things. India's really, really like a vibrant place now. Loads of amazing music, and so it's great. Yeah. No.
I think it helps as well connect, because we're so sort of desensitised in some respects to obviously the old ways and morals, and I think Freida really brings a wonderful performance, doesn't she?
Amazing, so natural, and also Riz as well. The two of them together, and it's great because we worked with Riz on Road to Guantanamo years ago, so we followed him. He's getting back in there.
How important was it to get these two sort of lead actors that have got the right chemistry and work together?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously fundamental, and they got on really, really well for the shoot, and it was kind of all made total sense. A perfect sort of combination of people with Michael directing, so it's really, really good.
And logistically, what's it like shooting out in India? Obviously, it seems a chaotic country.
In the past, exactly. In the past, there'd be like thousands of all crowding around the cameras and sort of desperate to get involved, and but now things are changing. People are more relaxed, and they're used to so much filming nowadays. So it's fine really, and it's kind of like not it's a more chaotic version of where we live. It's not much different.
Now, Hardy's books are they're so powerful. The raw emotion, especially for me, it just leaps off the page, and I'm just wondering how you transfer that kind of emotion to the big screen.
Well, obviously the film's really about the relationship between Jay and Trishna, between Riz Ahmed and Freida Pinto. And I think they're both great actors, and I think they're great to work with, and I hope they're giving great performances.
Oh my gosh, totally, yeah. How did you work with them? I believe you had a very basic script, and you wanted a lot of improvisation. What did that give to you, do you feel?
There was the script was a sort of told you how the story worked in a way. So obviously made the adaptation from the Hardy being 19th century England to modern day India. But I mean, it seems to me that their relationship, the central kind of love story, is something where two people meet and in a way Riz falls in love straight away. So they don't really know each other, and there's always quite a gulf between them. Freida's, from a completely different background to Jay. And so I kind of wanted just to give them as much freedom as possible to try and establish some sort of relationship, a relationship that comes through from kind of looks and details of tone and the nuances of performance, rather than from what they say to each other. It's not really a relationship which comes out through dialogue. Then also, it's partly obviously the world that it's set in, the society it's set in is really important. So a lot of the other people in the film are not professional actors, they're playing versions of themselves. And obviously, therefore, they knew how to behave, what to say, in a much better way than any kind of scriptwriter would. So for all the non-professional actors, they're really sort of doing what they think is right for their character in the story.
And I noticed as well the music, there was sort of classical music intertwined with obviously local sort of Indian kind of music. Was that to kind of bring resonance back to it being actually a classic piece of literature?
Yeah, well, it was great fun that we worked with a composer called Amit Trivedi for the songs, and he's quite a well-known composer in Bollywood. And so for me, it was the first time I kind of worked with someone who's actually writing songs before you make the film, so that they could include in the film that have some sort of connection to the story. So that was really great fun. But then I kind of felt it still needed, a kind of, a more sort of more traditional score, a romantic score. And we worked with Shigeru Umebayashi, who did things like In the Mood for Love. And so he was working in Japan, so we were sort of trading kind of the scenes across from Japan. But then he came here to record it, and he did a great score, I think. And he's a lovely, lovely guy to work with.
And logistically, what was it like filming for you in India? Did you enjoy the process?
Yeah, it was good actually. We worked there twice before, but this was definitely the best experience. We had a small team from England who we worked with a lot, which was great. And then we worked with an Indian director called Anurag Kashyap and his production company. So we had a really good creative collaboration with his people as well. So it was good. It was a good experience.
The kind of like that local knowledge to help you to take the process along as well.
Absolutely.